This is the Master of Education program. It's the curriculum studies program for health, outdoor, and physical experiential education. So the acronym is HOPE. I'd like to introduce myself as Joy Butler. I'm coordinating the whole program and also the physical education stream. Let me introduce you to Leanne Petherick, who will be coordinating the health stream, and Hartley Bannock, who will be coordinating the outdoor ed stream. We've run 2 cohorts in physical education before, and we're building on that model that was highly successful. So we ran one in 2009 and the other one in 2012. And the power of it is really the collective learning aspect of it. So everybody who belongs to the cohort really learns as much from each other as well as from the instructors. And there's a much higher rate of success through a cohort. So it's sort of like 98% success rate through a cohort, whereas it's in the lower 90% if you do it by yourself, and for obvious reasons, I think. So the other advantage, anyway, moving on, is that as part of the collective learning that you develop your own networks through people in the cohort. And it becomes a really good advocacy group. So, we can lobby the Ministry of Education, for example, or we can lobby the principals in the schools. As a collective, we have a bit more clout, I think. I don't know if you two wanted to add anything to that.
No, that's a great introduction.
Okay. So the people that we're targeting are obviously teachers, whether they're formal or informal teachers, coaches, administrators, outdoor leaders, and professionals in these 3 fields. So what's new about this cohort is that we are using the platform of experiential education and experiential learning. So it's going to be interesting, the discussions that we have in the very first shared course that we have, which will be this coming July, where all 3 streams, so whenever it says shared, it means all 3 streams are coming together. And we'll bounce off each other. What does it mean to be using a platform of experiential education and experiential learning? What is the difference between that and constructivist learning, which is a word that's often used in the schools? How similar are they? And what are the differences? What are the commonalities that we have amongst our 3 streams, and what are some of the differences? So those will be fun conversations to have. I'm not going to go through each of the points on the screen because that'll take too long. I want to get to the questions that you may have, so I want to move through that, and I think there's time. You'll have time to read through it. This presentation is up on the website, so you can download the slides yourself.
Maybe just one comment around that experiential is something we decided on as a practical focus for the Masters is not really theoretical, but really looking at a practical way that you can implement in your practice.
Yeah. So, I mean, the quick difference between the 2, the learning and the education, is that experiential education sort of, we consider the context of the broader education, so the school, the community, and so the learning is what's going on with the individual focus. And of course, those 2 things can't really be separated. So, a 2-year part-time schedule then. This is designed, it was originally designed for teachers who are working a full-time job and coaching, but now that we're bringing in outdoor ed and health, it just allows us a bit more flexibility with the timing. Yeah. So this is the schedule for all 3 streams in one go. It's not necessarily chronological, and so then we break it down into the schedule in the other 3 streams. But you can see that in the brown sections, those are all the shared courses, so you'll see that there are 6 courses that we share. And then within your stream, you're going to be taking 3 courses within that stream, and then there's 1 elective, and you can pull from one of the other streams for your elective. Now, I've had a couple of questions from people saying, well, I can't decide which stream I want to go into, and we have yet to discuss this, but I think it will work if somebody wants to do two streams and take 2 courses from each of the streams. I need to run it through to see if it will work, but I think it's okay. But anyway, I'll get back to the people that wanted to have the answer to that. Okay, so why don't we move on to the schedule in summary then? So, as I said, there are 6 shared courses. Okay, and the first one is in July. Oh, I see. What I've done is 5 shared courses where we are in a classroom kind of situation, and then one of them is the project, which counts as a course. And then there are 3 course streams, courses, and then 1 elective. Okay. All right. So the kind of delivery is delivery through the Summer Institute. So over the 2 summers, the first one being in July. And then there'll be 3 online courses listed there, and then the others will be a kind of a hybrid, which will be sort of online and also working on tutorials for the project. So we're going to start with the health education stream. I'm going to hand it over to Leanne to talk about that.
Okay, so welcome everyone. Starting this summer, we're going to have the shared experiential education course where we'll talk about health, outdoor, and physical education and look at some of the interconnections in the subject areas. And then you'll be able to choose between 2 health electives, one called Approaches to Health Education, and the other one, Special Topics in Health Education, Critical Inquiry in Health Education. Well, we'll look at some of the hidden curriculum and try to connect with the new integration of health within the physical education curriculum in BC, but then also think about topics related to comprehensive school health or health promoting schools, to sort of think of that bigger picture about what are some of the topics about health that are being presented in schools or in other professional settings, and how might we interrogate those from an experiential perspective. And then next summer, you'll come together and take specific courses, again, in the health area, one looking at health promotion and health education, and the other one looking at research for social justice issues in health, which I think is primarily going to be based in a social determinants of health model. So looking at the individual and society and some of those political topics that are sort of guiding what happens in health. Ultimately thinking about professional development in terms of health education, but also students and the people you might be working with trying to communicate ideas about health or to learn from. And then there are the shared courses again.
Hi, Travis. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Now, which stream are you interested in joining?
I'm actually interested in the outdoor ed stream.
Oh, this is getting a very popular stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Cameron is the sole representative for physical education at the moment, which is very unusual. That's good. Okay, so we're moving on. We're working through the health education stream right now, Travis. So I don't know if you want to.
Yeah. So if you can see the slides,
Yep.
Some of the key things that we're going to talk about in the health education area are really just sort of connecting with how do people come to understand health, what are the health topics in society that are affecting schools, how do we communicate knowledge about health, how do we move beyond making moral judgments and a behavioral type approach to health education, which is important, but I think what I would hope students would take from the course would be to think about some of the broad social contexts in which enable people to make decisions, or how their background influences their health choices. So it's not so much just about behavior change, but actually thinking about how do we help young people or individuals come to take their own health ideas and turn those into actions that help benefit their lifelong physical activity and health. So I won't go through the bullets. We can probably go through some questions after. So in thinking about the stream in relation to how the new curriculum is organized, some of the things you might come to know at the end of the course would be how to critically analyze and synthesize health information, how to locate resources to help support health education, whether it's curriculum oriented or something in the community. How do we discern different models about health education? What approaches connect with you? What might you feel passionate about that you can then help connect to the students or people you're working with? And then how do we create a broader collective so we can advocate for health for individuals or the school or disadvantaged populations? And then what you will do, you'll gain knowledge and skills. You'll learn to plan and implement health education programs. You can act as a resource because you'll have acquired all of this wonderful wealth of information from myself, but also your colleagues in the program. So thinking about that cohort model, what does everyone bring to the setting? Hopefully you'll become an advocate for health and health in connection to physical education and outdoor education. And then you'll also be able to design a research project related to a health topic of your choice. And then here are just some examples of topics we would cover in the stream. Mental health, people have had questions about that in the past. Thinking about gender relations, culture and health, healthy relationships, thinking about sex education and how you might teach that based on the curriculum expectations, but also your school setting, issues of body image, any number of topics will be covered. And some are listed here, and we could talk about others as well.
Great. Good overview. All right.
On to me.
On to you.
Wonderful. Hi, I'm Hart. Welcome. So similarly, we're going to start with the shared course in July 2017, and just noticing the schedule, we're only meeting in person in July 2017 and July 2018. So those are our two on-campus times. So in summer one, we will have the opportunity to do 532, which is the theories and dimensions of place-based learning. That's with Dr. Tracy Friedel, and really looks at the ways that Indigenous landscapes or Indigenous perspectives come into a sense of place and a sense of land-based learning. I've heard such positive things about this course, so that's an exciting one. And then the other two outdoor particular courses would happen in July 2018, and those would be 531, Curriculum, Pedagogy, and Outdoor Environmental Education, and 423, Explorations in Curriculum and Pedagogy for Local Outdoor Learning. The first course is a little bit more theoretical in its consideration, and the 423 is very practical in how we might establish outdoor programs, assess outdoor programs, and implement the programs. So those are the three particular outdoor ones, and the rest of them are the ones that we've already heard that fill in throughout the 2 years. Any questions about the flow of the outdoor courses?
The dates are not on the number 2 course, and they are in August. So I think it's the 14th to the 18th of August.
For number 6 you're talking
Number
about?
2.
For number 2.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
So you'll be taking 2 courses over the summer. You could take a third one, which would be the elective. You could choose to bring that up into the first summer, or leave it till 2018.
Yeah.
Okay, which is the same for health and for PE. Okay.
So would you advance to the next one?
Yeah.
Thank you. So these are very similar slides. We've gone through and done understand, know, and do for all of them. So with the outdoor stream, the understanding is really considering what outdoor learning might be and how we can overall increase the amount of time spent outdoors in and around where we practice. So in and around our schools, in our neighborhoods, in our communities, the focus is not on expeditionary outdoor education. There will be some opportunities to explore that, but what we're really trying to focus on is how we can increase time spent outdoors and the benefits that have, including physical, mental health benefits, including benefits of developing an environmental or sustainability ethic, and then related to how people learn and pedagogy communities form. So that would be the understanding piece of it. The know piece, similar to what Leanne spoke about earlier, there's going to be opportunities to analyze what's going on in the field of outdoor education, outdoor learning, to find resources that are relevant to where we are in the world, to consider how curriculum and pedagogy relate to place, particularly being outdoors, and then to come and explore some specific topics. As we've said, experiential learning, environmental education, Indigenous perspectives on learning, local learning, these really bigger other pedagogical concepts, how they relate to being outdoors. So that's going to be the knowledge piece of it. And then in the do piece, thank you, Joy, as well, similar to what Leanne spoke about, that you would have the knowledge and skills to be able to run, assess, outdoor learning programs in your school or in your district, that you would be a resource to other educators in your district or in your school around how they could increase outdoor learning, outdoor education. You'd be an advocate in general in relation to the community and why it's important to have outdoor learning in relation to health authorities or social services, and then finally the design research to advance outdoor education. One thing that's pretty exciting, I believe, around the outdoor learning piece with the design research is that we're still just at the beginning of developing what is the research, particularly on a local context. So the work that you would be doing would really be important contribution to the knowledge base in outdoor education, particularly here in Canada. So those are some of the know, learn, do's. And then in terms of the areas of study, and you can think about these areas of studies as well as potential overarching themes that you might want to do your project around, but not necessarily. And you can see they relate to some of the larger themes. What is time spent outdoors? How do we begin to even calculate that? What is place-based learning, land-based learning? What's outdoor pedagogy? How does outdoor learning connect to community development, wellness? So a wide variety of areas. And of course, these are just some of the topics. We, of course, would invite you to include the topics that you're interested in exploring as well.
Okay, and then the third stream, physical education, follows the same format. So there's going to be the shared course in July, and then curriculum innovations, where we'll have Jamie Mandigo from Brock University in Ontario coming in to co-teach that course with me. So that might be one that you might consider to be your elective if you wanted to capitalize on that. I just want to make a comment about the EDCP 500, the other shared course. It says 6 Saturdays up there. Now, typically, that's how we run it. So this is the course that's going to be January to April in 2018. But we'll have a discussion in the first summer course about where the cohort would like, how the cohort would like that to be run, whether it's going to, we can run that completely online, or we could meet every other Saturday all day in the way that we've done that in the last 2 cohorts, or we can do a hybrid of online and face-to-face. So that one is not fixed. We can still have that discussion. In the same way that the cohort will also decide on where the location will be for the face-to-face courses. So what is more central, and I think that actually is the only one that is would be a face-to-face. So we would consider, going out to I don't know, Burnaby or to Richmond, depending on where everybody is located. we'll figure that out. And then we have 2 courses in 2018. So early years, K to 7, and then 8 to 12, and we'll be looking at all the major issues for those different age groups. So what are we doing? And again, we use that same formula of understand, know, and do. And we're looking at moving beyond the binaries of understanding in PE. So, whether it's fit, unfit, techniques first or concepts second, whether it's, the way that we look at the way that people perform, is it correct, incorrect, do we have to have that binary, and so on. And how we can sort of draw from health education, from home economics, sexual health education, from outdoor ed, and so on. And in the same way, the skills that we'll be learning to know, how to critically analyze and synthesize and so on. We'll be using models like TGF, Teaching Games for Understanding. Why do we use that? It's not that it's the panacea of all the ills in PE, but it's just a way to kind of look at something new and say, well, okay, so what are the merits of this model? And, what is the problems of how we're doing things now? Is there anything wrong with how we're doing things now? But it just opens up that discussion about, what should we be learning? How should we be doing it? And why? And so some of those other models are also listed there. And again, I'm not going to go through each point, but I think we're all involved in really creating critical learners who become engaged citizens in a sustainable world. And I think that's kind of key right across the board. And in the same way that these are the things that you're going to be doing through the course, and what's exciting, I think, is that as we take these courses, they kind of funnel into what it is that you're going to be doing to research and move the profession along in your own field. Which brings me, so some of these are the areas of study. I won't go through each of those. You can take a look at those. It's very small print. I can see why Cindy is having to look very closely at it. But the idea is that you can share with somebody in your research project. And obviously, if you're going to combine with somebody, the project is going to be much more robust and more substantial than somebody doing it individually. We've had, you'll get the ideas for the projects probably in the first 2 courses that you take. And then when you start doing the research methodologies, you'll have an idea of, how is that going to work? And, what are the, what's the process in terms of ethics? And, if you're gathering data from students and teachers, we'll have to go through an ethics application at UBC and so on. But all that to come later. So some of the in the last 2 cohorts, we've turned the research projects into chapters for each of the books. So there's the first one, the boys on the cover, and then the second edition had the girls on the front. So some of the ideas for the PE cohort, anyway, were Chinese teenage males' experiences in physical activity settings. Somebody did a narrative inquiry of online PE. What is the experience of online PE students? Helping increase girls' physical efficacy through TGFU and the Games Performance Assessment Instrument, GPAI. And Where Have All the Kids Gone was the title of another one, Declining Enrollment in Senior PE Classes. And that's just some examples. So I'm going to pause here before we go on to the logistics of payment schedules and so on that our administrator is going to go through, Yvette. So let's just pause for questions about the academic program. Your turn to speak.
We just have a question with regards to the dates, just to confirm. Tim and I, we live in Manitoba. So, of course, we'd have to travel. So what I understand is there's a gathering one time in August in 2017, and then another time where you're on campus in 2018. Is that correct?
You're looking at the Outdoor Ed one, yeah. You'd have to come in July the 4th to the 8th. And the reason it starts on the 4th is because I realised that Canada Day gets in the way of starting on the Monday because it's a stat holiday because I think the first falls on a Sunday or something. But so I think it starts, anyway, I think we're starting on the 4th. So that is a course that you would have to come in as that shared course, and then you would do the 532. Which is in August. So for you, there is a big gap there. And if I were you, I would think about doing that elective. If you wanted to just stay in BC for the whole summer and then get that third course done. So by the end of 2017, some of you will have 3 courses completed, which is pretty amazing.
But just to reiterate, it is July just into early August for 2017 that you would be here on campus in person. And then in 2018, probably similar, but we think that it's going to just be in July, not into early August in 2018. So probably the first 2 or 3 weeks of July, you would be here on campus. So it's a beautiful time to be here in BC, a short time to be here face-to-face. You could do a little bit of traveling in between in 2017, and then the rest of the program is done either at distance or in a hybrid using like a Skype-in type model. So it is feasible to be in Manitoba and to participate in the program.
Yeah, courses are pretty intense because they are 1 week long and they start at 8:30 and go through to 4:30. So what we try to do is front load them with readings so that you can have, a couple of weeks to prepare for the course. And then we try not to bombard you with things to do during that week, because I think doing that 8 hours in one day is enough. And then you probably want to go home and just catch up on some of the reading ready for the next day. And then the assignments, some of them will be preloaded, some of them will be finished at a week after the course is finished. So it's not that it's just 1 week and then you're done. If you wanted to come over for those 3 courses, you can certainly think about, well, I've got the preparation before the course, and then the assignments afterwards.
Did that respond to your question, Cindy?
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Cameron, Travis, Amrit?
Oh, there's a question that came in from Amrit. I know it's a vague question, but I'm curious about how we will be connecting curriculum studies to the program. Is the program focused more on how we would apply, for example, health education using the new curriculum? And maybe you would want to take that.
I don't know. The curriculums. The reason that it's going to be an MEd in curriculum studies is because is that really the question? Is why we call that? Because if we did a degree in physical education, people who are doing outdoor ed and health wouldn't be able to associate with it. So what we did is call it curriculum studies as an umbrella term for 3 areas. So what it will say on the degree will be curriculum studies. And then say hope. I don't think so. No.
Okay. And are we also looking at the new curriculum during our academic process, or are we looking to see maybe how it would fit into the classroom? Is that what we're using? I'm just a little more curious about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good question, Amrit, and we would do both. Like, I think it's important to interrogate the BC curriculum in terms of what's happening in terms of health education, how it's been positioned, where it lies, what are the topics, and we could do that in other provinces around the country as well to look at the change and the trends. And then I also think it's important, if you're a teacher of physical and health education, to be able to walk away from the program with opportunities to think about your pedagogy, what you might do in the classroom, how do we engage kids, how do we become more confident and competent in talking about some of the topics that are covered in health, because
Right.
I don't know what your experiences are, but often we repeat the same topics and we teach them kind of the same way. And it's really just sort of exploring that and getting comfortable with many of the health issues confronting people.
Right.
What's nice about Cindy and Tim, if they join us in the cohort, is that they'll have a Manitoba perspective of the curriculum too to offer, which would be really good.
And one other thing that's happening or we're seeing in terms of applications is some of the students are not formal educators. So we're also looking at the themes from informal or non-formal perspectives as well. So what might this mean if you were an early childhood educator, or if you were working in a community-based setting, like a community center or a different type of organization. So there's a broad range of how we're going to approach. The curriculum for sure is something that we're going to come at concretely, but also to be mindful of the various curricula and then the different types of backgrounds that people bring.
Good point. Okay, any other questions?
I just have a question. One of the things that I discovered when I was researching, this goes back a ways, probably about a year ago, and I came across a connection to a summer institute that is basically a standalone summer institute that is geared specifically for education, but it's a very quick and this is one experience rather than the entire course. Is that still happening, or is that different?
I didn't really hear much of that question, did you?
Sorry, do you mean, Tim, that we're only going to meet as part of the Summer Institute?
I think we start a course that involves going to a location on the island or near the island, and for the purposes of creating an outdoor education program at your school. Found it that way. It was very, very short. It wasn't really a full master's program. It was just basically this institute standalone. Am I right, or am I thinking of something else?
Through UBC.
I thought it was UBC.
There is a diploma that we offer as well that has a Summer Institute piece to it in outdoor education. But the master's is only as we've described it here.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you're thinking about some of the courses that are called Summer Institutes, and some teachers can just take a course as a standalone course. They just parachute in for that one course.
Okay.
And actually, I will be offering the ED 530 in that way.
So I wonder in Manitoba, I've just moved to Vancouver from Winnipeg, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think at the University of Manitoba you could take post-bac courses. Is that right? So I think some of those sort of one-off Summer Institute courses would be like a post-bac course at U of M.
Yeah. And that's similar here. So the Summer Institute, the OEE diploma is a post-bac, and that's 300 and 400 level courses, and this is a master's, so it's all graduate courses.
Okay.
Mostly.
Yeah. So,
there's a couple health
there's
that
a couple
are.
of
There's
health
a
and
couple
outdoor ed that are undergraduate. Yeah. You're allowed to take 200, 300, or 400 level courses, which is why you'll see that some of the streams have a 300 or 400 level in them.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so if there aren't any other questions, let's move over to Yvette to talk about the logistics of the program.
So hi everyone, my name is Yvette and I'm going to go through the admissions and application process. And just so you know, this is a part-time program, 2 years plus a term, and it's blended. I have off-campus, but seems to be blended, and starting July 2017. So my role is to provide administrative support for the cohort students. So I will be helping process applications. And if you have any questions regarding applications or the admissions process, you would contact me. For any academic questions, you can contact Joy, or I don't know if Leanne and Hart want to be contacted directly depending on the stream. Just Joy's perfect. Okay. So then again, the degree title is a Master of Education in Curriculum Studies, and it is a 30 credit program. So what we're looking for is a completed 4-year undergraduate degree with an average of B+, which is 76% at UBC. And we look at all of your senior level courses, which are 300 level and above. If your GPA does not meet the criteria, the Department of Curriculum and Pedagogy may submit a special case rationale on your behalf to recommend your application to the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies. So I have that you'll need one official transcript, but I would suggest that you order 2 transcripts from each post-secondary institution that you've attended, with the exception of UBC. And you would open only one of them, upload the transcript front and back to the online application. As well, the other one would be used if you get into the program, then the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies will want you to send them one from each institution. So that's what the second transcript is for. We'll also need a 600-word statement of intent clearly outlining your experiences and interests in health, outdoor, and physical education program. And now this is where I'm going to ask Joy or Hart and Leanne about specifying the interest. Considering that some people want to do 2 streams, do you mind if they say, I would like to do these 2 streams, or do you just want to see the 1 stream and then they could use electives to have do their minor, so to speak, in one of the other streams?
Well, I think largely it will be writing an intent about one of the streams, and if somebody wanted to do a combination of 2, to make the argument why they wanted to do that.
And I also would like to know how this program will support your professional goals. We're also looking for a resume, which includes your education, coursework, employment history, anything that you feel would be relevant to the program, any coaching or anything else that, we'd be looking for that covers it. We're also looking for 3 references who can speak to your engagement with either health, outdoor, and physical education, or relevant professional experience. So we're looking for 1 academic and 2 professional references, or would you mind 3 professional references?
Well, I think it depends on the stream that they're in. If they're in physical education, we'd probably want an academic.
1 academic and 2 professional references.
Health?
I think if possible, an academic reference would be helpful, but if not, professional references are fine.
I agree. For outdoor, I guess the point would be if your professionals could also speak to your capacity to be successful in a master's program as opposed to a work context.
So when you submit your online application, your referees would receive a e-reference. And they can either use the form provided, or they can upload their own letter to the system, and it provides instructions on how to do it. If they're, say, a retired professor and they want to submit a hard copy to us, that's no problem. but they would have to sign the seal on the flap of the envelope for it to be valid. So you'd have to give them that information as well as the address to send it to, which is on the HOPE website. So the application instructions are found on the online application, but we also have them on the HOPE program website under requirements, and there was some other tab as well. And we also have a presentation. I have my presentation posted under the info session tab on the HOPE website. So you could see this presentation on the website as well as the link to the online application. You will be, again, uploading your transcripts front and back, your statement of intent, resume, any degree certificates, and any English language assessment report if it applies to you. You will indicate the stream you want in your statement of intent. And if you have any questions about that process, just feel free to contact me. So the application is open. The application deadline is January 31st, 2017. And some people will start their application but not submit it right away. You can re-enter your application and upload your documents as you receive them. And the application fee is $98.25 for domestic. So the degree costs, this is the tuition portion only for domestic and international applicants, $14,267.76. And there's student fees on top of that are about $370, with one opt-out available to you, which is the medical dental, which is a little over $200. So it's a little savings. And if you live out of province and you don't have a course to do at UBC or within the Vancouver Lower Mainland, then you could ask for an exemption from the Compass card, which is a pass that the university has for its students. So you could opt out of that for additional savings, and that's $158 per term. So this program is payable over 7 installments, and each installment, current installment is $2,039, and that's a tuition only. Again, the student fees are on top of that. And typically the tuition is raised 2% each May. So again, these were just the student fees I was talking about, as well as the Compass card. The one good thing about the Compass card is that it allows you to travel in 3 zones. So that is a plus. For teachers that are in the Lower Mainland that have sponsored teachers, there are teacher education certificates that you may have or that are may be available to you. And I don't think it's too late to take on a teacher. So if you have any questions about that,
this is not for taking on a teacher. This is if you've taken on a teacher, you can use the credits towards your tuition, correct?
Yes, there's an amount that they have on each certificate as well. So these would be you would contact the teacher education office for that. And again, if you have any additional questions, feel free to contact me. My contact information is in this presentation as well as on the program website. And that's all. Does anyone have any questions? Put us back on.
I do have a question, actually. If we took student teachers on during our master's program, would that also count as a teacher education certificate towards the tuition?
You would have to contact the teacher education office.
Right. Okay, so I would do that.
I think that works, yeah.
I don't know like all of the
The timing.
details of their new system because they prefer to handle it. So
Okay.
Okay, I can contact them then.
We have done that in the past, so I don't know if that's changed, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay. So are there any questions generally, about the academic program or the application process? Okay, so I hope that's as clear as mud. If you do think of other questions, after this session, then please feel free to email me around the academic program or Yvette around the application process. And we hope to see you in July. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.